Okay, so for part two, the rest of the story. So I finished up with, I was showing you, this was how it came to be. Eliza sitting on top of the moisturizing jar, a jar of moisturizing cream to stay away from, to keep scalp from getting a hold of her. So that's what eventually became the cover of the book. Is where she's sitting on top of the Tasha Tudor's moisturizing cream. So, all right, back to, so you saw the beginning illustrations. Well, I went through several modes before I came up with the font and doing the calligraphy and all that. I had the old Royal typewriter, and I thought, well, I'll just type out this old-fashioned typing. Well, it's hard to see. So it was quite a task. It was this ancient Royal typewriter. I was getting a workout, and it was smudging, and it just was, it was blurry. I thought, okay, so I typed all that on that old typewriter. And I thought, okay, gotta pitch that. So it was work. It was digging deep. It's the only way I know to say, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to fix this? And the thing that I came down to, I'd been practicing with some calligraphy, and I had all the nibs and the pens and the calligraphy, the ink, and so I started playing around with that. And so what my font eventually came to be was kind of a process of tweaking and refining and modifying what I'd learned with copper plate and Spencerian and all the different kinds of calligraphy to just have a print that would do for my little stories. And so, which came to be like this is a sample. Well, gosh, that light. So you can see a little bit of what it became. So this is how small, when I did the first book, the story, to have it published, to copy, I worked on these little tiny cards so you can see. Now it's hard when it's up like this, but this is how small they were. And this is the doily page. When I took a picture of and posted about the doily page that I had created, it was this tiny. When they wound up, the formatter enlarged it for the book, for the real doily page, which kind of, at the time I didn't know to debate it or to say, no, I want it this way. Because I thought, well, she knows best, and so it was someone I would work with a long time ago, back in the beginning. So I've since found some wonderful, now a wonderful formatter, Kelly Nielsen. So he does all my formatting and design work. But I wanted to show how tiny it was, and this was a lusterware plate, and so it was a plate of wisdom with a cup of tea. So you can see that's, and so I'd cut out a little tiny spoon, and this was a doily. I've had people ask, did you paint the doilies? No, these were some doilies that I had. And then I did paint, and I did the tiny, tiny calligraphy on there. And the whole point behind the doily page was, here's Eliza down here. And I thought about books that are cartoon, have cartoon characters, and they have little bubbles floating over their head and their thoughts, because they don't talk, because they're little characters. And this is a mouse, but she thinks lovely thoughts, and she's old-fashioned, so her thoughts don't go into a bubble. They go into a pretty little doily up over her head of what her thoughts. So each book begins with a doily page, and it has something that's a thought, a kind of sums up kind of like the moral of the story, or what it's alluding to. And sometimes it's a scripture, and sometimes it's a quote from somebody. This was the quote from Beatrix Potter, and it became my mantra, because I was, I'm a 50-year-old woman, and I'm a grandmother, and I'm a former teacher, but I also was slipping away into this little world, this little make-believe world, and how wonderful that is, and what a balance it can be, and to have this space that I come to when I have a break from school, or from life, or from stressors, and it's a place where there's whimsy, and it's keeping it all in balance. And it was a quote from Beatrix, and she said, What heaven can be more real than to retain the spirit world of childhood, tempered and balanced by knowledge and common sense? So you still got to be a grown-up. You still got to do the adulting thing, but to have time to slip away and to feed your creative soul, your what drives you, what you love. And mine just happens to be everything under the umbrella of handcraft, sewing and stitching and knitting and crocheting and painting and trying new things. And the thing about that is that keeps your brain, that keeps everything firing, and that helps to avoid early onsets of dementia and Alzheimer's. Not that it's sometimes that just happens. My grandmother had early onset. We don't know what caused it, but I'm going to go down fighting. I'm going to keep trying to learn new things and keep my brain sharp, and I have to. I just have to. So I'm hoping you feel the same. So I believe that's all I had for you. And I'm sorry, on that other video it cut off, and so I won't be able to share that one to that IGTV, which this was kind of like my whole point, to be able to have these for that. So I may share this on IGTV, but if you see it there, then please find the part 1 on a YouTube video, or I will post it. I will also post it on my author page on Facebook, which is Christy Jones Ray Author. So if you go to my regular Facebook page, you can get to it through there, links through. If there's anything else that you think about or that you wonder about, I've had people ask me questions. How did this start? What was your inspiration? And the inspiration really was the play that was going on with my grandson when he would come over, and it just it was feeding both of us. This little mouse was real to him, this little Eliza, and he'd come over and he'd say, "Grammy, where's Eliza? Where's Eliza?" He couldn't say his L's. "Where's Eliza?" He's like, "Is she in the kitchen or is she in the living room?" And so he'd go on a search for her wherever I'd set her, or we would take her with us to the restaurant, and he'd play with her and John Jacob, and so it was our fun. And what I always say, and what I hope, and what I try to do with Sophia now, is the things that I work with my hands, that I find a way, that it gives me a way to connect with her, that she sees me doing something, so she wants to do it too. And the whole point of having, when I'd had mouse making kits, I wanted it to be something that maybe a grandmother and a grandchild could work on together, or a mother and their child, or an aunt or uncle and their child. I've had men that sew better than the women. They sew and stitch things, and so it wasn't confined to just a woman's work or woman's things. So I just, my whole motivation for all of this, not that it would be something that would be, oh, this will be a moneymaker and a business and you should go into it. It just brought me joy. And so, and my husband always says, when it stops bringing you joy, then you stop. He said, "Christy, as long as it's making you happy, do it. Don't worry about, is it something that sells? Is it something that everybody wants?" Because it's not. I have my own little niche here with and a lot of followers that feel the same way I do about some things. So I'm not worried. It doesn't have to be for everybody. And whatever you're doing that you love and you're passionate about, just keep doing it and take it to whatever degree and to the extent that it continues to bring you joy. And if it becomes work and laborious and no fun, then step back a little bit and think, what am I really wanting from this? And your heart will tell you, and your gut will tell you. But it has afforded me so many adventures and meeting so many people around the world. It's quite crazy, and I just I'm learning so much from people that are out there, and it's helping me hone my craft and my painting. What started out so I had to keep digging and each project grows me. And that's the thing that it's all about, is is something that you're doing? Is it growing you? Is it making you a better person? Is it making you more compassionate? And that's how I judge things. So that may just be me, but I'm going to get off here because I can hear them fixing lunch downstairs, and Sophia needs some attention again, and so we'll go do that. So hope your Saturday is wonderful and all that you need it to be, and restful. So have a great one, and we'll talk soon.